Yeah, maybe what you could do is uh, have a second set of proposals, additional proposals, where if they implement your design and it turns out traffic is still speeding, you would have this second set of proposals that could be implemented. So try what you proposed. If it works, great. If cars are still speeding, then what do we do as phase two? Arnav, do you have any ideas on what phase two might include?
Phase two, we can add speed humps to help make sure that people actually go slower. I know in Fremont, especially on Paseo, they've been trying to narrow down the lanes more and more, and also by adding up actual like dividers between the bike lane and the road, a lot more people are starting to take driving slower seriously because they feel like the lanes are narrow. But since on that section of Bancroft from Civil to Thomas, we aren't able to put any physical barriers up because of the driveways. One of the solutions that we could do is a speed humps, or even just uh, more like, I guess, yeah, speed humps is probably the best solution there for now. To phase two.
There's definitely more driveways on the east side of Bancroft than the west side between Sybil and Thomas. That the houses face the street on the east side, but they face the side streets on the other side, more or less. So what you might could do, this would be a super interesting pilot, is you've got a two-way bikeway for a stretch to pilot in front of the school. And then you've got buffered bike lanes from Thomas to Sybil to try those. What you might do is on the stretch from Sybil to Thomas, do a buffered bike lane on the east side of the street like you've proposed, but on the west side where there's fewer driveways, propose a protected bike lane, a one-way protected bike lane, and then your pilot has all three: a one-way protected bike lane, a buffered bike lane, and a two-way for the community to kind of evaluate the pros and cons of each. And so thoughts on that, you might also notice that a protected bike lane tends to narrow the street more because the parking is moved out, and that should slow traffic a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I guess that would be, we could add that when talking with more people. But yeah, does anyone else have any other comments or concerns?
While y'all think about that, a couple other ideas. I like the scramble that they have at 136th. You might want to think about a scramble up near McKinley somewhere so that the high school is bookended by scrambles and McKinley itself gets a scramble. That also might slow cars down. And then further north and further south, where there are fewer traffic lights on Bancroft, Williams has the same problem. You got to do something. You can't just have it be this endless raceway with no stops. So consider stop signs or additional traffic lights. Probably one of those two things you need to, to interrupt traffic. Otherwise, people are just going to haul what they do.
Yeah, so I guess overall, so on Bancroft, we would add more speed humps and stop signs, like you said, up north is what you said. Yeah, so in those areas that we encounter speeding, there'd be speed humps and stop signs, and maybe like yellow flashing beacons and things to slow cars down would be ideal, and also on Williams. Yeah, in both those areas.
Yeah, two things you can look at. One, Waylon, if you're in Oakland near 35th Ave anytime soon, Oakland added speed humps to 35th Avenue, which is a busy arterial street. And it was the first time that Oakland added speed humps to a busy street. And so that's an example of what you could do on Bancroft. If you want to snap a photo of it or go to Google Street View might be too, the speed humps may be too new to be on Google Street View, but if you're there, snap a photo. Berkeley has also added some speed humps to busy streets. So San Leandro would not be the first city to do this for sure. And then another option is a hawk signal, HAWK. It stands for something, and it's like an on-demand red light. And so cities are installing hawk signals or hawk beacons, I think they're called. That it's a traffic light that is dead. There's no light at all for it until a pedestrian or a bicyclist activates it from the side street, and then it turns on, it goes flashing, and then it goes solid red for the Bancroft traffic. And then the side street traffic, bikes and peds can cross. It's called a hawk signal. And that might be worth proposing at one or more locations, both on Williams and Bancroft.
Yeah, we actually have that in Fremont near where I live. It's near the BART station. Yeah, we have one of those. And I find it very useful because that particular crosswalk is very wide. So that being there is very helpful for those pedestrians.
If you want to take a photo of that, maybe include it. Mm-hmm. One thing you can do, I think Seattle has done the best job of this of any city I know, is where they have narrow sidewalks, what they'll do is paint a wider sidewalk in the street, just using paint and different color paint. They may put up stanchions like you would for a bike lane, but they put them up for this wider sidewalk. And they either do it where there's a gap, there's no sidewalk at all, and it's too expensive to build one. They'll just paint one in the street. Or also at locations that have a lot of pedestrian traffic, it's an easy way to widen the street. And so this would be kind of innovative, but why not be innovative is if you've got a two-way cycle track that's 12 feet, I think yours is 12 feet, you could make it 8 feet for bikes, 4 in each direction, and then 4 feet is a wider sidewalk painted as an option. Something to think about. All right, those are all my ideas.
Yeah, thank you for all those ideas. Those are very useful. We'll try to include them in our presentation or our design for the repavement, and then we'll try to find some places to include them in other places as well. Okay. Yeah, I guess. Does anyone else have anything to say before we wrap up? Okay. If not, that's okay. Thank you so much, Dave, for joining us today. Sure. Very appreciated. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
I'll see you all